And good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
How you doing, Sunshine?
Man, I ended up working a lot later yesterday than, like, a lot later.
Wasn't yesterday like a regular middle of the weekday?
Yes. And it ended up being a thing. Yeah. So, good morning to James Wilbanks. I suspect that is Jamie Wilbanks. And then, good morning to our band Hammer Swinging third member of the original Brushfire Mind trio, Steve Rodemeyer. And good morning, James. I think I need more coffee. So yeah, before we jump into the SCOTUS
Yeah,
thing,
it was Roberts. I was right. But we'll get back to that in a minute.
Yes.
So yeah, we want to talk for just a minute about the situation over at Twitter. And you know what?
morning,
I'm gonna have to
Krista.
look it up because I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head without.
Yeah, we're gonna.
I have to look up his name.
It's so racist. Yes, go dogs indeed. That is
Indeed.
That's correct. And
Oh, because his name is Parag. Parag Agrawal.
that's it, Agrawal. Yeah, remember that name. This guy is
We'll call him Agrawal from now on.
this guy.
Agrawal.
Nope, I got it. I got it.
Yeah. So, we're going to be talking about some SCOTUS stuff this morning, but
Well, ironically, this could lead to talking about more SCOTUS stuff in the future.
absolutely. This guy, Parag Agrawal, who is the new CEO of Twitter, screaming racist, just absolutely hates white people, has been very, very vocal about that, and began his first day as the new Twitter CEO with new and more censorship.
Yeah, and it's I strongly suspect that this is the harbinger of things to come. Like, this is not just going to be Twitter, right? And Twitter's just the tip of the spear, as it were. Like, okay, so the big thing that's going on with Twitter, why we want to talk about this, is now Twitter has decided, hey, you know, if hey, there you go. That's a fantastic picture. Let's use that one. Twitter has decided, basically, if you don't have permission from somebody, you can't share a video or picture of them.
Like, for example, this with Agrawal and the CEO wizard, Jack Dorsey. Hey, there's a boatload of people in the background there. Did you ask them if it was okay to take their picture?
Well, share their picture.
I wonder how far down the chain we get before. Did you ask the cat?
I don't...
Did you get a model release from this chick?
Okay. But look, here's the deal. Okay.
Did you pay this artist?
Okay. Here's the deal, though. Okay? I'm going to relate this back to the Hunter Biden laptop thing for just a moment. Because I think at this point, anytime big tech, any of the Silicon Valley types, propose a thing that's for our own good, I mean, what it really is they want to be able to censor. As long as you have the right thing, you can say whatever you want. You know, kind of like how in North Korea, as long as you say nice things about communism in the party, you can totally say whatever you want.
Well, in North Korea, there are two parties. They have elections, and it is a crime punishable by death to be caught without having been assigned to vote for the opposing party.
Yeah, but the point is in this particular case, is about speech and how you can say whatever you want as long as you say the right things.
Well, to be very clear, your vote is speech.
Yes, but that's... Anyhow, Hunter Biden's laptop. Supposedly, okay, the polls and whoever the experts are say, okay, if the Hunter Biden laptop story had been a known quantity, as in, you'd been allowed to just see articles about it.
If Twitter hadn't banned the story.
Yeah, if Twitter hadn't banned the story, there are people that voted for Joe Biden who either would have stayed home and not voted, or may have in fact voted for Donald Trump.
So assuming the absolute perfect security of the most secure, fairest, and biggest, bestest election ever.
Yeah, no amphibious priapism there whatsoever.
Joe Biden would have lost, according to polling data, if Twitter hadn't illegally, by the way, illegally, forget the First Amendment question for a second, Section 230 and the 14th Amendment, equal protection under the law, Section 230, you are a platform, not a publisher. So it was a crime for Twitter to censor the Hunter Biden laptop story, but they did, and they've suffered no consequences for that legally.
No, of course not. And here's why I bring this up, because there's a couple of other cases that were concluded recently that all revolved around video being shared. We live in a world now where, for better or worse, if you have a video that goes viral, that's the thing that can change the world. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's a thing. It's obviously the thing, okay? You have the Kyle Rittenhouse situation, and you have the Ahmaud Arbery situation. There were people that sincerely believed, up to the trial, that Kyle Rittenhouse shot a bunch of black people. And, of course,
that's not true.
That's not true, right? And one of the things that helped people know that it's not true is there was video that was shared, and one of the places it was shared was on Twitter. And then, of course, you have the situation with Ahmaud Arbery, in which Bryant, and his lawyers even thought, we'll release this video, and that'll clear all this up. These guys won't get charged with murder. Whoops. According to this policy, both of those videos would not be allowed to be shared on Twitter.
Correct. And let's not forget, in the Ahmaud Arbery case, the thing that video showed is that nobody ever pointed a gun at Arbery until he grabbed it. And that should be the fact that made the case for the defense. Somehow they failed on that. Somehow. I don't know what BLM.
But I don't think it's hyperbole to say this is an effort to kill activist journalism. Now, I would not at all be surprised if there's some really selective enforcement of this policy.
This is not an effort to kill activist journalism. This is an effort to kill conservative activist journalism.
Yeah, like if you're a BLM supporter and you share a 30-second video of a racist Karen, for example.
Or if you fabricate a hate crime.
Right. Anyhow, if you share a racist video of a Karen, that's probably going to be okay. It shouldn't be, but it's probably going to be okay. And then, of course, but if you're on us, and I mean, I wonder how long the Brushfire Mind is going to have a Twitter presence, because you linked the show to the YouTube page.
I did.
And we just share the things. Like, we just comment on what's topical, right? So,
let me just double check before I say anything, but I'm 90% sure that we are live on Twitter right now. That this show is currently live on Twitter.
Hey, speaking of things that are live on... Oh, awesome.
Yeah, we are still currently live on Twitter.
And Krista points out they'll shut down James O'Keefe. He's one that they're definitely going to go after, quite obviously. And so, good morning, Krista. And also Matt Parks, good morning. S2 Crawler, good morning. And Anarchy Television, good morning. Hey, and I saw that you had Twitter pulled up. Just for the funsies of it, can we just do the Jill Biden video real quick, please?
Which one?
I added you at Twitter with it. I added the Brushfire Mind with it. It's if you missed it.
I did.
Yeah, that one.
My son was away. My granddaughter, just like you kids, really missed her daddy. So I wrote this book to tell other kids, because there's lots of kids who don't know what it's like.
Hey! No, thank you.
So when my son was away, my granddaughter, just like you kids, really missed her daddy. So I wrote this book to tell other kids, because there's lots of kids who don't know what it's like.
Hey! No, thank you.
So when my son was away...
Oh, man, that's solid.
No real value other than its humor.
Oh, thank you.
But I figured that was worth sharing. That would just be fantastic. And I don't think we'll get the ban for that one. I mean, it's Jill Biden. Like, there's a...
Dr. Jill Biden.
Yeah, Dr. Jill Biden.
Remember when The View thought she was a medical doctor?
Remember when The View thought?
No.
Exactly.
Oh.
You know, there's historians, if you go back and you pay attention to... Oh, my God. I'm blanking on his name. He's the Wilson, Woodrow Wilson. If
Not the guy from Home Improvement.
No, Woodrow Wilson. Follow me here for a second. If you go back and you do some study of Woodrow Wilson, there's some really disturbing stuff about the end of his pregnancy. Ha. Need more coffee. There's some really disturbing stuff.
He was a Democrat.
About the end of his presidency, where he was mentally incapacitated, and it's believed that there were bills that were signed, you know, where like his wife would put the pen in his hand,
Yeah,
and would help him.
yeah.
I only bring that up because I don't know, why would I bring that up when I look at Joe Biden? I don't know. That's weird. It just is a strange thought that I had.
Oh, Krista's getting bored.
No, I think she just needs coffee. See, she dropped
yawning.
the coffee emoji. Okay, so
Hey, Paul joined us too. So now let's talk about the thing that YouTube hates us talking about. And to be clear, okay,
YouTube hates us talking.
YouTube hates us talking, but we're going to talk about abortion a little bit. And this video is going to get deranked just because we mention abortion. Whether you're pro or against, doesn't matter. Just having a conversation about the topic equals deranking. But there's a couple of things that have been okay. There is a case before the court right now. Before the Supreme Court right now, and opening arguments have been done, and the case has to do with a law in Mississippi that will ban abortions after 15 weeks.
I'm tracking, yeah.
That's the first trimester.
Right.
Right? They're saying you can't murder your baby after the first trimester. You can still murder your baby during the first trimester. But not after that. And so that is not a huge win for life. Right? And let's be clear. Obliterating abortion is not a win for conservatism. It's not a win for white supremacy. It's not a win for a particular political persuasion. Obliterating abortion is a win for life. The word abortion is just a colorful euphemism. It's no different than a mob boss saying, take care of him or ice him, right? Any other gangster saying, he got whacked.
An illegal immigrant?
He got greased, right?
Wow.
Okay, Jeff Goldblum's silent fart finds a way. I'm giving you this one today.
That makes me wonder if somebody changed their name just so they can drop that comment.
I hope so.
And have it be just that fantastic. That's... Man, on YouTube, I'm just Cameron, Like, I must be doing something wrong.
Wow. Okay.
So there's a law in Mississippi.
You might have broken my train of thought. It's a win for life, because here's the thing. That word, abortion, it's a euphemism. Just like, iced, whacked, greased, etc., capped.
Illegal alien.
The word is murder. You are willfully and with premeditation, malice of forethought, ending another human being's life with the intent to do so. That is the case in every single abortion. Without exception. You are choosing to end another human being's life. Yeah, and Steve, I've heard that argument. Well, what about brain dead hospital patients? Okay. Ben Shapiro and them bring up the famous violinist analogy. What if you were anesthetized and you woke up and the famous violinist who had been in a terrible car accident is connected to you by an IV and needs that blood to keep you alive? Okay, here's my first question. Did I voluntarily create the condition of that violinist's dependency upon me, or the condition of my connection to it? Did my voluntary action create the situation? Oh, no? Because all you pro-choice bitches out there, you had a choice, and you made it. And that's how you got to where you are now.
Well, even that language, pro-choice. Tim Pool pointed this out in his video breaking this down, that pro-choice doesn't mean what people that use the term pro-choice would have you think it means. It's not pro-choice. It's pro-abortion, baby.
100%.
Like, it is okay to use abortion as contraception. It is... And I'm so tired of hearing that whole life of the mother, rape, and incest. You're talking about a small minority that apply to abortions. It's such a small minority, and we've talked about this many times. Maybe we need to go back and actually...
the life of the mother argument?
The life of the mother, the rape, the incest.
Not a thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a thing. And
no, it's not. There are not cases in which you can save a mother's life by aborting the child.
Okay. Well, then, never mind.
But there aren't. For late-term abortion, it's not a thing. On abortion, you have a woman who is in labor distress, and the only way to end that labor distress is to remove the child from the situation.
Okay, so
going in and killing the child.
Okay, but I didn't say late term. I said abortion. I didn't say late term abortion. I said abortion. Okay, there are cases where abortions do revolve around the life of the mother, and the point that I was trying to make is, even by their own math and their own statistics, it's such a small amount of people that's just an excuse that they throw up in your face in order to shame you off of your position. That's where I was going with that. And I'm tired of having the argument on those margins, as though what we don't actually have is taxpayer funding of abortions on demand for purposes of contraception. And that's That's one of the things that guys like you and I find so grossly offensive. So, oh, you're misappropriating my tax dollars to kill children. I'm not okay with that on
I'm about
so
to pitch
many
a temper
levels.
tantrum over my tax dollars being wasted to keep the blinking lights of the school zone blinking on not school days. How do you think that lands me on spending my money to murder Americans?
Right. So, anyhow, man, I was going somewhere, and then you just derailed me. Like, it's...
You got there. It's an excuse.
Well, there was somewhere else I was going to go. It just...
So, let's get to Justice Thomas, and believe it or not, Roberts did something right. But we'll get to that in a minute. It's the one thing he's done right. Because Roberts is an agent of the enemy. But Justice Clarence Thomas, I love Thomas. Okay, so quickest. There's an episode of Boston Legal where Denny Crane and them, Neplex Gaming, you're out of here. Sell me viewers. Shit up your nose. So there's an episode of Boston Legal where Denny Crane and Alan Shore make it to the Supreme Court, and Alan makes some comments, and they made a bet on whether or not they could get Thomas to say words while they were in court. And Alan points at him and accuses Justice Thomas on the bench of ignoring the case and reading a magazine under his desk. Hey! And like that's the only thing that comes out of him. And, Thomas is like notoriously stoic and quiet. Doesn't comment, doesn't ask a lot of questions. Often he'll go through a whole case without asking any questions and listen to the arguments presented. And he's famous for that, being, not involving his own positions. And, so this is kind of like hearing a question like this come out of Thomas. It's kind of like when Clark Howard said, "Don't vote for Black Girl Magic because she's the same corruption as Kasim Reed," who apparently has no chance in hell of being the next mayor of Atlanta.
Oh, that's already been decided.
Yeah, he's out.
Oh, no,
like the runoff.
No, but they had the runoff. It was they called it for Andrew Dickens yesterday. New mayor of Atlanta.
I thought that was next week. My bad. I guess today's the second. Anyway.
Yep.
So the Supreme Court heard oral arguments on Wednesday in the most important abortion case in nearly 3 decades. The Supreme Court is currently reviewing a Mississippi... I already told you that. So Justice Clarence Thomas asked a pointed question during the hearing that should have pro-abortion liberals worried. Does a mother have a right to ingest drugs and harm a pre-viable baby? Can the state bring child neglect charges against the mother? That's it right there. Right? This is just like the point, you've got a woman who doesn't even know she's pregnant. She's only 3 or 4 weeks pregnant. Doesn't even know that she's pregnant. Is murdered. Buddy, you're going to catch a charge for double homicide because you just killed 2 people. Right? It's just a clump of cells. Yeah. Bring that up in your murder trial. Use that as your defense in your murder trial. Good luck. Because the only time anybody believes those words, well, nobody ever believes those words. The only time anybody advances that argument is when they want to murder a baby. That's what the argument is for. And then the other one, Roberts. Why is 15 weeks not enough time? Because remember, we're not talking about banning abortion here. We're talking about banning it after 15 weeks. After 3 months. Roberts asked, why is 15 weeks not enough time for a woman, to decide to have an abortion? Conservative Chief Justice John Roberts. Conservative Chief Justice. Oh, no. So, I personally am excited about this case going forward. What it will mean. Huh?
I'm not.
Why?
they're going to do the thing they do, where they issue the most narrow ruling possible.
Maybe.
I mean, look, I hope you're right and I'm wrong, but even in that case, okay, there's a lot going on. For starters, if the federal government never should have had enough power to wave a magic wand and make abortion legal. And just in the pure philosophical sense, the federal government having enough power to wave a magic wand and make abortion illegal. Granted, never should have been made legal in the first place, and I accept that. But every time we cede the federal government a power, we don't tend to get it back. And this is an issue that is deeply divisive. An issue like this is what the 10th Amendment was built for. Because if something like this, okay, that the nation is never going to agree on, well, that's why we have individual states. There will be some states like Mississippi that pretty severely restrict abortions, and then there will be other states like New York that won't. And if it's something that really is that big of a deal to you, you can move to Mississippi, or you can move to New York, and then your conscience is not offended. You can vote with your feet. And I don't see the Supreme Court doing what should be done and kicking this back down to the states where it belongs. I don't see that happening.
So here's what you're missing on this case. Because it's dealing directly with Roe, it is a fact that Roe is bad law. Roe is unconstitutional by definition.
Look, Steve. See, they ought to kick it to the states and rule federal funding unconstitutional. That'd be great. I don't see that happening.
Roe is unconstitutional by definition. Right? Not by interpretation, by definition. And when you look at Roe, technically Roe does not permit abortion. Roe says that if you choose to murder your baby with your doctor, then
you're allowed to keep that private.
You're allowed to keep that secret between yourselves. Technically, under the law, if you say that. And Steve, yes, it is law. It's precedent. It's a Supreme Court decision. It's not statutory law. It's I'm forgetting the word, but it is law. But what Roe did is it didn't make abortion permissible, and I'm about to get into why that's a very, very important distinction. It said that you can keep that secret between you and your doctor, and that your privacy in that matter is protected because it's medical privacy. Now, there are some benefits to Roe v. Wade, and that is the codification of medical privacy. Now, the thing about permitting abortion, dig down deep and think. Where else in the law is there a thing which was illegal where rather than repeal the law which forbade a particular specific action, another law was passed to give explicit permission to commit the action which was previously illegal? Right? Because that's what, in theory, if you argue that Roe permits abortion, then what you're saying is that at a time when it was illegal to murder humans, the court chose a specific demographic of humans and gave explicit permission to murder those humans, and that the circumstances around that murder were not relevant to the premeditation of the murder itself. I challenge you to point to a law which selects a crime and then gives specific permission to the citizens to commit that crime, but only against a narrow, targeted group.
Nothing. And it's 8 o'clock anyway. It's actually after 8 o'clock.
Yeah, it is after 8 o'clock, and I have to go to LG now.
Yeah.
That's a long drive, buddy. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's going to be a good day. It was a long drive. Yep. All right. So, y'all be safe out there. And, yep, Steve. You caught yourself. Good job. Y'all be safe out there, guys. We love you, and we'll see you tomorrow. I just read the Sergeant Major's comment here. If SCOTUS supports Mississippi, then other states will challenge previous rulings that made the law of one state apply to all states. So, just real quick, there is a circumstance, and I don't know the absolute minutia of it. In fact, nobody does because it hasn't developed all the way yet. There's a circumstance under which this SCOTUS decision comes out narrow and tailored, like Cameron said. Refuses to overturn the Mississippi law in question, but does not overturn Roe v. Wade. That's definitely a possibility. There is also, however, the possibility that the arguments that I just laid out become part of the question here, and that Roe v. Wade is so patently unconstitutional on its arguments of assumptions from the nebulous penumbra of unenumerated rights, giving a woman the right to terminate her poor defenseless baby. If Roe is overturned, about half of all U.S. states have trigger laws on the books that are waiting for Roe to be overturned. And if Roe is overturned, then basically by definition, by legal definition, those several states, and I'm actually not sure if Georgia's one of them. I couldn't find it, but about half the states will all of a sudden ban abortion outright. And it's not even like the state will go ahead and ban abortion because now they can do it once Roe goes away. No, it's they've already preemptively banned abortion in their state, and as soon as Roe goes away, then that ban goes into place. So cross your fingers. We could see ourselves save a whole lot of lives.
Ironically, black lives in most cases.
Yeah, but black lives don't matter when you're murdering babies. But BLM is all about some abortion.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that was just so good on you for the comment there, old man. I appreciate it. We love you. We'll see you tomorrow.